Alright, Simon here, again, possibly still talking about a new party. A few ideas for reforms that came up, just put them out there, see what people think. Today we're going to be talking, on that one, about crime and punishment, a little bit. Import, export and the EU, and schools and carbon footprint if there's time. Alright, let's start with crime and punishment. Okay, we're going to be changing the life sentence to 50 years instead of 25 years. I believe it's that now. People getting off a little bit too easy. If people admit to the crime without going for a trial, bringing up the evidence, and that way people can move on a lot quicker, we'll reduce the sentence by 50%. This means if you murder someone and you tell them that you've murdered someone, obviously you still need to go to jail, you still did something wrong. However, because there is no lengthy trial, which of course the victim's family and friends can then start grieving straight away instead of having to bring up the images over and over again, we'll reduce it by 50%. Under the 25-year one, so under the 50%, with good behaviour, the minimum term would still be 18 years. On the 50, 40, 45, haven't really looked into it much. For crimes under 5 years, we're going to bring the hard bargain back into effect. I think it might be a good idea. This means where if a drunken fight's got out of hand, for example, someone's been hurt, put into the hospital, which is bad obviously, but it's not really worth someone ruining their life. Obviously they still need to be punished. The hard bargain just states that you join the armed forces, the reserves or something, work for the military, you then learn a little discipline, puts you back on the straight and narrow, and you only get like a small post-it on your permanent record, like an issue, not like a massive term in jail. Okay, next one. Well, we believe that people in jail do get it a little easy. Obviously, you've got TVs, internets, PlayStations. We're going to stop all of that. We're going to have the radio. Obviously, they need to keep up with news, newspapers, books still. They're allowed one phone call a week. This will obviously be to a family member or something. We're still going to allow the days out policy if they're on good behaviour. So that means if their mother dies, for example, they need to attend the funeral. Obviously they're under guard the whole time, but obviously they do need to do that. So as long as they're under good behaviour, that's fine. We're going to take away the money allowance. Thinking about it, well actually last night, if someone, say, commits a murder, no, murder's a little harsh, let's say a robbery of a post office, for example, they might take 10 grand, not exactly a lot of money, but if they bury the money, hide the money, then they get caught, go to jail. Obviously the 10 grand's still safe, they can't really be found, and they get a little money every week, not exactly a lot, but put it together over like say a 10-year spell in jail, they're walking away with like 25, 30,000 pounds. Quite a lot of money. Now, the last piece is going to be hard labour. Well, not hard labours, but if you think of an American prison, so if you look towards TV, it shows Americans as like ditch digging on the side of a road. Probably a little excessive, but something along those lines would be a good idea. That's all we've actually came up with for crime and punishment. However, if anyone does have any ideas on crime and punishment, please feel free to leave comments, post videos, etc, etc. Next one is import tax, export and the EU. Well, basically out of the EU. We're spending far too much money just to be in the EU, and getting absolutely no benefits from it. Well, I say no benefits, we are getting a few benefits, but not what we're paying. Obviously, we're paying like something like £100 billion a year. It might even be more than that, not sure. But we're not really getting anything out of it. Maybe free travel, free trade, but apart from that, people would still trade with us. It comes down to money in the end, not trade. Not down to who you're allied with. It's still kind of come down to money. So we still get trade. Our import tax is going to be 50%. It's a little excessive, but that would force people to buy goods made in England or the Commonwealth, or what we're going to consider allied states, which are like France, Spain, Portugal, quite close with, and America and similar places like this. For those, the import tax is going to be less than 5%, and places in the Commonwealth less than 1%. This allows, well, basically people who are our closest friends to be making the money, not people we are at war with or we don't really know or really care about, to be honest. It's not racism. It is something, but it's not racism. It's not against any particular creed or religion. It's more like nationalism. Might be something else. Next, fags and alcohol. Going to increase to 100% tax. It's already at like 90%, I believe, maybe 80%. It's not a major increase, only a little bit of increase. However, alcohol such as wine and champagne, we're only going to increase to 85 if it's at 80, or decrease it by 5% if it's at 90. Alcohol made in the Commonwealth or England, or again the Allied States, these things include Scotch, cider, most beers are gonna go down to 85% or up to 85%, depending on which. Export tax, we're gonna decrease it, I believe, to 10%. This way we're not really taking that much money, but it's showing the growth in our country. Okay, that's all I've got on that section. If anyone has any ideas, comments, views, anything, just comment in the section below, post a video. All videos will be watched. Finally, going to do the carbon footprint another time. Just going to do schools. Half of it, school one's pretty long. We're going to take a leaf out of the Americans book, a little bit, and a little bit out of the Swedish book. In Sweden they have extremely high pass rates, like 99% gets A's. They've narrowed this down to a few things, but one of them is standardized testing. For example, like the end of each year, from like year 1 to like year 6, there won't be any standardized testing. There'd only be one major test, and that'd be the end of year 6, just to make sure you've caught everything you need to know. However, if that test is failed, you're going to have to catch up in summer school, or if that fails, repeat year 6, maybe in like an academy or something similar, like a private, well, not a private, but like a separate school that's designed to work with people who are struggling a little bit and are obviously being kept behind. Next, nobody leaves schools without A-levels. Too many people just leaving school either because they can't afford it or don't want to go on to A-levels, struggling or living off benefits. People who can't afford it, the next thing will help you out. Everyone will receive £50. Not, do probably remember the benefit scheme. You either got 0, 10, 20 or £30 a week. We're actually going to increase it to £50. This gives everyone a fair chance, gives everyone the same thing, doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. That should make it a little bit more fairer. make people want to be in school a bit more. School lunches. Now, Jamie Oliver did have a point where people are just getting chips and like gravy or stuff like that. It's like cheap to produce, a little fattening, and it does need to be looked at. Also, I don't think it's fair that only like people who are on income support get free foods, even though like the food's only costing like 10p. It's probably fair that everyone gets it, and in most schools like 90% of students are getting it anyway, so it's probably fair just to give it to everyone. That way they can, I don't know, do whatever they want with the money. It's not much, like it's £2 or something. Also, looking at school lunches, we were looking into something like Subway. I know Subway is considered fast food, however it's also considered a healthy option. Obviously it's like a sandwich or a roll. That way people again can have their sit down with their family, get back to the basics, eating with like their families at the end of the day, stuff like that. Also, Subway and other fast foods are really cheap to produce, like 10-20p a roll or something. Obviously if it was like a franchise just for the school can then also make a little money on sides, like, I don't know, the odd chocolate bar or something. Also help a little bit with obesity. Every child has to take on an extracurricular activity, and it has to be a sport related one. We need to cut down obesity. Myself, I've also obviously gained a little weight since I've left school. It's because, well, I'm unmotivated mainly, is the main reason. However, it would have helped a lot if schools did tackle this much more. So, we are going to allow schools to have like the last period to be PE period, which is fine, and then have it extended throughout, like just an extra hour, which will of course be fine, like an extra 5-minute break in between, then straight back in, that'd be fine. Or like a football class or something after school. To this effect, we're actually going to push inter-school sports. I know they do it with football and occasionally with rugby and tennis, but we're going to do it with everything across the board, gymnastics, athletes, not just once a year. Okay, that's actually everything I have today. Gonna come back with another video about carbon footprint, but that's all from me today. Have a nice night, and please share this video.